Hey yo, good morning. We're back. Sorry about no stream yesterday. Just woke up with an awful migraine, and I didn't want to come on and basically be low energy, and I'm glad I took the day off because I don't think I'd have been able to do it. So anyway, sorry about that. The schedule is still intact. And yeah, we're streaming today and tomorrow as per usual. So there we go. Let you know. Morning, Castonia. Welcome. So yeah, today obviously we're gonna continue on with the main project image, but we'll start with some studies first, just to get warmed up, get into it, get the hand moving, and yeah, we'll go from there. And obviously, of course, any questions or anything like that, anything you want me to go over that is like somewhat relevant to what we're doing, just let me know. But yeah, we'll get into it. So starting off with study as usual. Gonna do another pillow study because we're going to be painting some more material today. Going to be painting this dude. I mean, I might branch out and paint other bits, jump around a little bit, but I do want to get at least the folds in a good place on here. I think we tried quite a few times on last stream, and yeah, there were some attempts that got kind of close to what I was looking for, but nothing quite grabbed me, so we're going to reblock it today and go from there. And then yeah, like I said, I'll probably jump around a little bit. I usually end up painting several different bits on these. I find it difficult to stay in one place. Alright. So yeah, pillow study. Let's get into it. Just turn the music down in my headphones. Alright. Let's see here. Honestly, I could just paint pillows all the time. We've got a print on our bedroom wall. A lady done like an etching of some pillows, and it's kind of printed in really subtle values. Like the darkest darks aren't that dark. The darkest part of it is probably like this value here. It's really nice. It's just got this kind of like very kind of strange quality about it. But we have it on our bedroom wall. Very fitting. Yeah, I do love them. I did on my Instagram a few years ago now. Did a lot of pillow drawings in my sketchbook as practice, all in like blue coloured pencil. Very nice. Very nice exercise. I think where I had seen this happening as like a recommended thing to do was I want to say it's called like Westerson Studios or Weston Studios. And yeah, it's some kind of painting studio in the US. And the guy who's running that like recommends it as an exercise for beginners, to understand folds and values, and I mean it just contains most of everything that you're going to want to understand, and it's something you can just do at home. West Studio. What did the writers no, I'll find the link. I'll repost it at some point, on Instagram today. But this was ages ago. believe that they're not. It's not like a game studio. It's like a painting studio. Gratschnag. Hi, people. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream, even. Are you just out of interest? Did you just come across the stream by browsing, or is it any of the links I posted? Were you browsing the sea of anime cat ladies here on Twitch? From the Discord links. Awesome. Thank you. Sorry, it's just good to know where people come in from. But yeah, welcome. Thanks for coming. So yeah, obviously we're starting, as we start all the streams, by doing some studies, and the aim of these is to basically practice some stylization. I'm not intending to make a carbon copy of the reference. It's more using the reference as a basis for stylizing shapes and execution. And then in this case, we kind of have this reference up from Leyendecker as a kind of reference for stylizing the shapes, like the things that I want to do in here. And this way it's directly relevant to the main project, which is what we'll be getting onto Paint a bit later. So we have it all blocked in here in color, which we did last stream, and now, yeah, we're just going to get into sort of rendering it up a bit. Trying to show in some way what my process is for creating digital illustrations. Because I think one thing I do think is important, and you know, I think there can be like varying opinions on this, but you know, some people say that if you have a process that, you know, you're limiting sort of creativity because you're doing things the same, etc., etc. And I can understand that viewpoint, but I've found that having a process, as in like a process that is almost like a set way of starting things out and doing things, means that whatever the subject, you know, whether it's something I've never painted before or it's a very complicated composition or something, that the process enables me to like get a certain quality in the piece. I have like a set way of getting to a certain point, and that way I can make sure that the quality of the illustration is there, regardless of the subject. So the process for me has really helped me to adapt to all sorts of challenges within an illustration. And yeah, sometimes I will gloss over parts of my own process, but other times it is something that I can really rely on in a pinch to do things in a certain way and be quite methodical like that. So I find it helpful personally. I wanted to ask why I use the path instead of the selection. Yeah, good point. I am really terrible with the lasso selection. I find it to be very difficult to get the exact kind of shapes that I want with it. I also don't like the fact that to a certain extent you have to sort of complete the shape in kind of one go. And I find that the pen tool is like something where if I need to be insanely accurate, I can, and you just can't get that with the lasso tool. You know, if I wanted to follow this pillow exactly with this, like I can, like literally to the line, you know, whereas you'd be hard pushed to do this with the lasso freehand. It's just not accurate enough, and your hand isn't steady enough, and you know, I can get literally the exact curve that I want with this thing, and it's just as quick for me, really. You know, I know how to use a tool. I got it set up on my keypad. You know, all the hotkeys for it. So yeah, I just use it all the time. So much so that I barely use the lasso tool at all. Yeah. I think the pen just offers you much more control over the line. And like I said, if you get good with using it, like I use it all the time, it's quicker. It's quicker and more accurate. So it's a no-brainer. Also, another sort of thing, when I so for an illustration for a work, for example, you know, I'll have a quite detailed line work from a line artist, and you know, for the most part, the design of, you know, whatever it is that's been drawn has been approved from the line work. So I need to, in the very beginning, like make flats from this line work, and I need to do it accurately to the drawing because that's what's been approved. And again, if I was to do that with the lasso tool, it's just not happening. I wouldn't have nice, clean, clear edges like this, because just my hand won't be steady enough to do that. And even if I can make a smooth curve, you know, like this, doing this over a line work and trying to stick to it exactly, you're just not doing it. Like, I don't care who you are. May I ask which drawing tablet you have? Yes, I have a Huion Canvas 16 Gen 3. Very good. I would definitely recommend a Huion over Wacom, even just for the price alone. They're like half the price of a Wacom. But yeah, this is really good. Like quality wise, amazing. I've never had any driver issues with it. It worked straight out the box. Yeah, really recommend them. Fuck Wacom. Unless you have lazy Nazumi, the lasso tool is rubbish. No brain is good because I have no brain. I should give it a try. I just thought you can use save path later on. Yeah, I mean, you can still do this with this, right? Have that, I can fill it and use it again if I need. But yeah, it's a good. Everyone's always like, why do you use the pen tool? But trust, it's better. It's a little bit fiddly to use in the beginning. There's a website that kind of turns the pen tool into a mini game, and you can just go like through all these levels and use it. But honestly, you play with it for 10 minutes, you'll get it. It's not difficult. Hey man, hope you're feeling better. Yeah, I am. Thanks, Ace. Yeah, just big migraine yesterday when I got up. I had like a really bad night's sleep, and then woke up insane migraine. Where it just felt like my head was in a vice. So I just laid in the dark for a few hours, and then I did manage to get it to go, but it just like wipes you out. I fell asleep once the painkillers kicked in, and it was subsiding. I just like fell immediately asleep, which was like really nice relief. But yeah, at the time I was like, nah, I can't do it, Captain. Okay. Thanks, good to know. I'm considering to get Hawaiian as well, actually. Yeah, I would. For me, I wouldn't spend the money on a Wacom. I don't think Wacoms are terrible. I just think the Hawaiian's better. And in terms of a kind of a product, it's just been really good from the beginning. Yeah, it was like half the price, and I got money off because they were having a sale, and they also sent me a backpack and a stand as well, which were like included in the sort of bundle at the time. So for I think it was like £480, ended up with tons of stuff. HDMZ is now following. Thank you for the follow, much appreciated. Welcome. When was the last time you used a non-screened tablet? I was just using a non-screen Wacom until earlier this year. I only bought this Hawaiian, I believe, earlier this year, maybe in the summer. So yeah, that's when I've used one. I used to use like a big 22-inch Cintiq years ago, and then I switched to just using a sort of a desk tablet because I like to travel a lot and I need to take my laptop with me so that I can work. And then then I saw this Huan, and it's actually super portable. Like, it doesn't have a massive power brick like the Wacoms do. It just has like a plug that is like a little bit bigger than a plug. And I was like, oh, this looks actually really portable. Like, the tablet itself is like just like the size of a small laptop. It's only sort of that deep. So I can just put it in a backpack with my laptop and travel with it. So yeah, it's now my sort of everyday thing. And I much prefer screen tablets overall. I think for me, someone that is used to drawing, that who like learnt drawing and painting with real media, like I don't have the issue of like, oh, my hand's in the way, that I know some people have with these screen tablets. But to me, it's like, oh well, that's just drawing. Like, when you draw on paper, your hand's there, you know. It feels much more natural to me. I don't have that issue of the hand being in the way, because it is in real life. And I just think with the desk tablet, I'm a lot less accurate. You know, there are just some things that become a lot more difficult on a pen tablet, specifically like line work or being very accurate when you're painting. I think there's just a certain level you just can't get. I can't get, rather, with a non-screen tablet. And like, I noticed the difference, like night and day difference, when it comes to my painting and my line work. On a screen tablet, it's just so much better, more accurate. Like, whenever I have references, you know, I always keep them in my file like this. I never put the references on my other screen. I find it really difficult to like look up here and, you know, and then draw down here. Especially as my laptop screen is on a stand and it's, you know, a couple of feet away from me. It doesn't work. So having this screen like right here in front of me, you know, I have it kind of quite angled up as well. It's just much better. Feels way more natural. I have a Huion Canvas 24 4K. The bottom of the screen popped off on the 3rd month. It's still working 3 years later, but I did have issues with the color calibration and the fact that the screen just popped off. Oh, that's crazy. I must say I haven't had any issues in that sense. The colors on this, the reason for getting this one was the color profile being a lot more accurate than some of the other models that they have. And yeah, it's really nicely calibrated, like out the box, honestly. Hey, yo, Dan. What's going on? We got dead toothbrush in the house. Yo. So my wife Daisy, she's in New Zealand for Christmas. So she's I'm all on my own over here. So I did some batch cooking the other night. I've made a bolognese that is mwah. It's so good. I've got it for dinner every night. Not for the entire time. It's just a week's worth, but 4 days worth. But goddamn, I've really done it. I've excelled, overachieved. Working alongside you. Well, good. Yeah, this is just the study portion of the stream. Obviously, we're going to get back onto this bad boy in a bit, but definitely need to warm up, especially after not painting yesterday. I devour a good spag bowl now. Avatar Kezia, welcome. Yeah, it's so good, honestly. He cooks, he paints, what can't he do? What can't I do? I can't spell. So, there's that. Yeah, pretty rubbish at spelling. Quick math. Yeah, can't do quick math. No quick math. But yeah, so I made the bolognese. You do half beef mince, half pork mince, and then fry those together. Oh my god, it's great. But yeah, I got to batch cook something else on the weekend for next week. Don't know what that's going to be yet. So if anyone's got any good recommendations for what to cook, hit me up. Because boy, need to eat. But yeah, it's I'm so used to Daisy being around. I think the longest that Daisy and I have ever been apart since we've known each other has been 3 days. So she's away for like 3 and a bit weeks, and I already don't know what to do. I'm just like in our apartment, like it just seems so quiet. I'm just used to having like constant social interaction, you know, and talking to someone like 24/7. So yeah, I like the other night cleaned the entire apartment. I even went in like our food drawers, you know, our food cupboard, and like got everything out and rearranged it in like high order. And put it back in, like something that I would just never do that. I have no drawer to do that, but I didn't know what to do. I was like, I'm just in our house, and it feels really empty. And I'm just like, well, I guess I'll just tidy up then. Make some chicken curry, man. Just made some recent. Yeah, that's a good shout. That is a good shout. Love a chicken curry. Wimp alert. Yeah. Yeah. But you know you'd be the same. So get wrecked. Stream 24/7. Yeah. I guess I could turn my house into a goldfish bowl and just stream 24/7. Sleep stream, anyway. I've been batch cooking a puttanesca sauce when my husband is away. It's so good and salty. Ooh. What is puttanesca? Nothing better than a good clean, great way to refresh the brain. Wear the Wimp t-shirt proudly. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. It'll be alright. It's just like the first few days. I'm like, So, I want to get a new television because the one that we have is like maybe 15 years old now, and I think it's just I think the screen itself is just kind of degraded from the use. Like the blacks on it, they kind of separate into like a few weird layers. Like it's not like a smooth blackness. Anyway, it's fucked. It's really old TV. So I want to get a new one. And TVs are much cheaper than they ever used to be now, which is cool. So you can get like a decent one for not as much as I thought. Anyway, because of this, I was like trying to decide last night, like, oh, what film shall I watch? And I was like, well, if I'm going to get a new TV soon, like I don't want to watch anything like really visually spectacular right now because it just looked rubbish on this TV. So I was I was searching for a film that I wanted to watch, but it had to be kind of visually kind of mid, because I didn't want to be thinking, well, I should actually watch this when I get a new television and not now. And it was a really silly predicament to be in, where you just like, I want to watch a film, but it can't be that great visually, because otherwise I'll want to watch it on the new TV. Derp. These are the kind of decisions that we're having to make right now. It's all very sad, honestly. She's only been gone like 36 hours. We'll be watching the news closely to see when you break. Yeah, there will be signs. They'll show. Yo, Brandon, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Well, now you can make that executive decision alone. Daisy will come back to a TV in every room. Yeah, dude. You know, I wouldn't say this is like a dream, but I am gonna go to, you know, the TV shop and just be like, I'm gonna find an enthusiastic sort of 20-year-old TV store worker. And I'm going to be like, yo, dude, this is my budget. I'm looking for a TV and a new set of speakers. Like, sell me on a dream. Take me on a journey through this TV shop. I want to know about specs. I want to know about colors. I want to know about 4K. I want to know about OLED. Like, tell me everything. Sell me on a dream. And yeah, I want this guy to like tell me about everything, start to finish. I'm gonna have like a full on dad moment and just dine out on being sold something. And then buy like the sort of subpar cheaper one and disappoint him. But up until that point, he's gonna, I want to feel like. I want him to feel like he's got the big commission coming in, He's got a whale. So I'm looking forward to that part of the experience, if I'm honest. It's not something I ever do, but for some reason it seems like a really appealing and nice option for me at the moment. I'm losing it, guys. I'm losing it. Fridge in every room. My man. Yep. You better haggle. I'm terrible at haggling, eh? I don't like it. I do not like it. I used to hate going on holiday. No, let me rephrase this. On holiday, I'd say like go to the beach with my dad, and he'd be like, I'll buy you a pair of sunglasses from the guys that come down the beach and sell sunglasses, and I'd be like, oh, thanks, Dad. I'm young at this point, 12, 13. Like, cheers, Dad. That's sweet. And then the guy comes along, and he's got like fake Oakleys and whatever, all these sunglasses, and like they're fake and they're on the beach, and so they cost like 10 quid or whatever, 15 quid, and my dad would be like, no, you need to like haggle the price down, like we're not paying the equivalent of like £15 for them, kind of thing. And I'd always be like, they're literally, it's 15 quid. Like they're so cheap anyway. When this guy's just trying to make a living, and you want me to like haggle the price down even further, so that we're paying like £10 for sunglasses. It always felt so bad, and so ever since then I can't haggle a price. Like any sort of confrontation like that, sales wise, I just fold immediately. I just cannot deal with the anxiety of trying to haggle something down that's already like reasonably priced in my estimation. It just makes me feel so yeah, in a market or anything like that, I just can't do that. I'm not that kind of go-getter when it comes to the deal. Get TVs everywhere and then run 24-hour videos of flower wallpaper. I like that. That's a brilliant idea. Sorry, itchy nose. Got any events you're going to be speaking at anytime soon? No, I've got nothing lined up right now to speak at. To be honest, like whenever that stuff happens, it always happens like super last minute. But yeah, I mean, I would love to go and speak at playgrounds again. That was really fun. I got a lot of good feedback from that talk. So maybe they would be interested in having me back. I will probably be like guest lecturing at universities again. That kind of happens every year. Again, that kind of usually just crops up kind of last minute as well, but that's usually in like the beginning quarter of the year. But yeah, I don't know. Got nothing else lined up. I would like to maybe do Lightbox one year. I'm not like super stoked to go to LA, but I'd give it a go. Yeah, there is kind of some talks that I'd like to do. Like, you know, I've thought about topics and stuff that I would like to do. So yeah, we'll see. Winduella, are we drawing, son? What do you mean? Are we drawing? I'm painting. Yeah, I'm painting right now. This is just we're doing a study right now of this photo, trying to sort of look at how the design of these folds is quite exaggerated and stylized, and then kind of doing the study in a way that sort of emulates Leindecker's style. And then very soon we'll be moving back onto this picture, which we have blocked in now up to this point, and we will start to paint this very soon. This is kind of the main project that we get back to. Zero Pink, hello, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. Oh, big same. I cave way too easy. Like when the Buddhists do that thing where they write your name down and then show you how you have to have signed up to donate paper. I suppose the other yeah, if anyone tries to get my attention on the street, I'm like that. I am 100% headphones on. Do not engage. Do not look. When I cycle home from here, actually, like I go through the marshes, and there's like, you know, one path, and there's some people there at the moment, and they've taken to, and it's on a bridge, right? So they've taken to setting up their little stall there, and they just like accost people as they come over the bridge, because you can't go anywhere else. So they'll be there, and they're like, oh, okay, we got 5 minutes to talk, blah blah blah. And I see people getting caught there in these conversations where, you know, the tidbit that I hear as I go past every time is, you know, when they're explaining like, so it's £3 a month, blah 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 blah, and it's like, I don't know, Canals and River Trust or something, and I'm like, you actual bastards, just like accosting people like this and putting them on the spot to put money towards, I don't know, whatever the fuck it is. But it doesn't matter. I just think it's scummy, like, to do that. Obviously people should just say no, and I do. With those people, I'm quite rude, but yeah, I just think it's shit. Fuck off. They're not real Buddhists though, they're just dressed up scam artists. Makes sense. They get me though. Joe Lou's always telling me to walk away, but I get caught. Lol, I signed up to that. Yeah, cancel it, dude. You got scammed, my guy. Just hit them with the no, fuck off. Yeah, pretty much. No, I just ignore them, you know. And if they're very persistent, I'm just like, no, listen, I don't care. I don't care. You know, get out, go away, leave me alone. Most of the time I'm just on my bike though, so I just absolutely burn it past them on this bridge. Razz it. Like one day they're gonna like step out in front of me as I'm cycling, and then I'm not gonna be able to stop. And we're gonna get a collision. Cancelled it after a few months, but they caught me. Pop a wheelie. Yeah, exactly. No man, my you ain't catching me on my bike. Ooh. Boy fast. Do you think having a separate studio away from home boosts your productivity? I don't know if it boosts my productivity. It is nice to be able to kind of leave work here and at home not have access to anything work related. That's nice, and I feel like that is much nicer for my brain overall, because when I had my computer at home, you know, and working at home, you just don't switch off properly. Like, it's just too easy to stay on the laptop longer with work open, and sometimes just like drift back onto my laptop, you know, after dinner or whatever, and you just don't turn off properly. And I've found that having it here, obviously, it's just here, and therefore I can't re-engage with any of it. And I finish, you know, when I leave here, it's like I'm done, you know, for the day. So that's very nice. So I don't think I was very productive at home, and I'm very productive here. I don't think it was a productivity thing, but it's just overall mentally it feels a lot better to separate the two. And I think as well, yeah, it's just nice to have the separation, I think. Get in that creamy, the creaminess. Yeah, I could just paint pillows all day, honestly. Something quite relaxing about it. Yeah, I'd say it's definitely less stressful having a place to go work. And also going here, just on the sort of mental aspect of it as well. Going here, you know, I cycle here, so I get outside, get some exercise, see the world, you know, get cold. It just feels nice to have that, you know, small bit of outdoor interaction every day to start the day. It's just better headspace. Yeah. I think as well, having time away, properly away from the laptop, I think I sort of process the images that I'm making a bit better. You know, I have time away from it, and it sort of it ticks away in my head in the background. I can't constantly like look at the image. I think that really helps me to sort of separate from it and solve the problems a bit better as well. Because when you have it available and you can just look at it all the time, I sometimes think that to fix the problems in the illustration, it's actually better to just be completely away from it and it just bubble away in your head in the background. Hey, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I think I always solve things away from the subject. And if I just have something open, you know, I can go around in circles and waste a lot of time and ultimately get kind of very stressed and annoyed with it. But being away from it is when I solve the problem. Like I'll be in the shower or watching a film or something like that, and I'll be like, okay, that's what I'm going to do on that image tomorrow. You know, I'm gonna attempt this, or you know, this is the solution to this part of it. I rarely have that moment actually looking at it, or being sort of in the process of painting it. If something gets frustrating on a painting and I'm just there trying to brute force it over and over and over again, that rarely becomes the time that I figure something out. You know, at the end of last stream, I was painting this material, you know, I was having a joke around being like, you got to be bold with it, you know, you just got to paint it, stop messing around. But it, you know, in doing that, I'm just sort of brute forcing, trying things over and over and over and over again. And like I said, it didn't result in anything that I wanted to keep. And I would just go in circles like that for a couple of hours on something. At that point, if I was working on work, like if I'm not streaming, you know, that would be the point where I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go out for half an hour. I'm going to jump on the bike, go around the block, or I'm going to do something else. Maybe I'll play video game for half an hour, or I'll make lunch or something like that. And when I'm away, that's when I will figure the thing out. It will bubble around in my head, and I'll be like, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And I come back and I make some big decisions on it, and I go from there. It really doesn't happen for me sitting there just bashing my head against the wall. So having a studio for me means that I can't just go and sit on the laptop and at home and start messing around with something. Like I have time away from it. Long story short. Does that make sense? Alrighty. So, pillow study. Been doing this for just about an hour now. So, yeah, I'm about warmed up with this. And so we're going to jump over to the main project image. Going to block in basically this area of the fabric a little bit. Try get those shapes that I was looking for last time. You know, something akin to something like this, but for our dude here. So I will attempt blocking those in quickly. Let's see what reference we got here. There we go. And yeah, well, then we'll go from there. Obviously, I'll continue to answer questions as we're doing this. And yeah, if there's anything like particular you want me to go over, that seems relevant to what we're doing, yeah, we can do that. If there's anything sort of like technical wise, I know we spoke a bit about the Fresnel effect last time, or anything like that. But yeah, if I'm painting and you're like, oh, how does this work, or so on, we can go over that. Happy to answer questions and do little tutorials and stuff as we go. So yeah, otherwise that's that, I guess. Give me one sec. Okay. And remember to drink water as well. Everyone, this is your hydration reminder. We can all drink water together. Yeah, it's very easy to not drink water all day. I'm really bad for it. I'll even have it sat on my desk here. You know, I got 2 bottles of water here. And they're right next to me. But I can still go a whole day without drinking them. He's a maniac. Let's get rid of all of this. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll turn the skull off, get that out of the way. Turn the hands off for now. Yeah. Okay. And we're going in. So, bold, big, bold strokes is the aim of the game. And we'll try to get something we like. I need to adjust the values of parts of this, like these planes here are facing a different direction, so they're not going to be as light, but I just want to get the shape of all of this stuff down first, and then we'll sort of adjust the values. I think that also goes some way into thinking like that certain shapes don't work because they're actually the wrong value. I sort of realised that, you know, I watch a little bit back of the streams afterwards, just to check what's going on, that the audio's fine and all of that. But yeah, so you can imagine, like talking and painting, there's a certain concentration that needs to happen there when you're doing both. And yeah, it does mean I can sort of miss things that I would otherwise just sort out if I was painting by myself, because I'm, you know, fully engaged. There's a little bit of stuff that I miss every now and again. As you do. So yeah, I was on the subject of like talking at events. I really do want to put a lecture together about dynamic composition and sort of the thought process behind making something dynamic and what makes it that way, and some, you know, ways that you can critique your own work and discover, like, are you keeping it dynamic, etc. Because I think something that comes up quite a bit, yeah, we talked about it at the beginning of this image on the previous ones. Doing that, so yeah, I think that's a subject that people are interested in. I don't see too much of it. I actually loathe at events when you go to see someone, you're looking forward to their lecture, and they basically just show their portfolio. And they don't really go into anything technical. It's just like either an advert for a course that they're selling or yeah, it's just kind of them ad-libbing and going through their portfolio, and you're just like, great, yeah, I could go on ArtStation and see your portfolio, you know. It's to me that shit winds me up. It's really lazy. I much prefer to do either demonstrations where I'm physically painting something, or some kind of actual lecture where we go into a particular aspect of illustration or painting and so on, so that there's some real like learning going on, and you can sort of hear how I think about it, the subject, and you know, process it that way. Those kind of talks for me, when I see those, I'm very interested in them, so I always try and do that. These fucking lazy people out there. Yeah, that shit is a bummer. You always they let him bring the heat. Thanks. Yeah, I can imagine it's expensive coming over. Yeah, but yeah, no, that really annoys me, because the events are expensive, right? When you factor in travel and everything, and then you know you got people that are excited to see your thing, and then you just basically go through your portfolio, or like it's just a big advert for the course that you're selling, and it's like not very interesting of a talk, and then yeah, it just feels like a big waste of time, and it's like really disingenuous, I think. I don't like it. Fucking lazy artists. That's what it is. Just some horse shit. Just capitalism, innit? Yeah. Big agree. Big brush. Yeah. You know who does. Hey, yo, Got Artist, thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. Welcome to the stream. Good morning. Guten Morgen. Do you know who's very entertaining to watch though? And does excellent talks. TCK. Thomas Chamberlain Keane. Yeah, he very entertaining and interesting talks at events. Yeah, really well thought out, well presented, like funny, and always just something interesting that you didn't know about or hadn't considered or whatnot. And a super nice dude. Just discovering your work, that's dope. Thanks, Got Artist. Thanks for joining. Were you just browsing through Twitch, or did you see it somewhere else? Just out of interest. Got those bold strokes. It was suggested on the left side, and the thumbnail got me. Usually chilling on the art category while work. Oh, nice. Yeah. Cool. That's nice. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I am currently streaming 3 days a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Here. Oh, sick. Yeah. So, yeah, you've caught us when we're working on what we call like the main project. So this is like the sort of the big painting that I'll be working on for the stream. I'll turn some layers back on. Let's see what we're doing here. That's my notes on top. Yeah, so this is like the main project that we're working on as just a personal image portfolio piece kind of thing. And yeah, then we start every stream by doing stylization studies. So in this case, it was painting pillows in the style of Leyendecker as a direct sort of reference for what we're doing here. And yeah, this is, like I said, the main project image that we're working on. So now just blocking in some shapes, trying to get some nice, big, bold, juicy Leyendecker material going on in here. And then, yeah. Also going over like questions people might have. If there's anything particular that comes up, like how to paint a certain thing or a certain technique or whatever, I'm also happy to sort of go over that kind of stuff if it's somewhat relevant to what we're doing. So at the moment, obviously I'm painting material, but if I was painting like metal or something reflective later on, and, you know, you're like, ooh, what's the technique here? Or like, why X, Y, Z? Yeah, happy to answer questions. What your brushes? Where? We got it. We got ourselves a Joker. So all of these strokes that are on the base here under the flats are quite distracting. So I'm just going to paint some of these out a little bit, because they're getting in the way of me actually seeing stuff. Only the biggest brushes here. Yeah, exactly. 500 pixel monsters. No noodles. Anti-noodles. No noodles here. Minimum. Yeah, exactly. What is happening? Sorry, there is a stroke here that is like causing a line across the thing. There we go. That's better. Sorry, there was something visually very distracting going on there. We're back. All right. Yeah, minimum. Absolute minimum. Okay. We're back. We're back. If you weren't doing illustrations, what would you like to do for a living? I mean, it's more relevant than ever, that kind of question, considering the fact that it might have to become a reality depending on what happens with AI and the industry. So it is something that I've thought about a little bit, like if I had to reskill, like what am I gonna do? Because like I this is the only thing that I can do. But something about like cybersecurity does interest me quite a bit. I like the idea of like working on a red team, and doing cybersecurity, trying to they call it penetration testing. For companies' security systems and stuff like that. That kind of stuff does kind of interest me. I constantly listening to podcasts about that kind of stuff. And I was learning to code, so there is that. Although I don't know necessarily about cybersecurity, but at least on the coding side of things, it is something that is potentially also going to be quite affected by AI. So it maybe isn't like the best choice. But anyway, so maybe I'm getting a bit off topic here because you didn't ask about AI. Yeah, essentially, what would I like to do? AI aside, yeah, I think that sort of cybersecurity, kind of penetration testing, red team kind of work, I think I'd find quite interesting. To be honest, yeah, I think, what else? At one point, I really was like, I would like to be. I think I could handle being a paramedic. Like doing something that's kind of useful like that seems appealing. There is a part of me that's like, if I'm gonna go and do something else, I just want to do something that's actually like really useful. Because being an illustrator is kind of useless in a way. It's not definitely like needed in any capacity. I don't know. Something outdoors could be quite nice. Daisy was suggesting, like, she was like, why don't you just become a gardener? Just work outside all the time. I mean, there's an appeal to that, I guess. Or I could just become a full-time streamer and play games. Super useless. I'd do some trade job. Yeah. I have a friend who's a carpenter. And that seems pretty fun, pretty interesting. Practical. You get to own a shitload of power tools as well. So pretty goals right there. But yeah, just being a hacker, being a hacker, that would be excellent. But again, that's something that to acquire all of those skills, there's so many things you need to learn to be a hacker. It's quite daunting. Quite daunting. But I could see myself enjoying it. I like the naughty aspect of it. I'm a naughty boy. On my mind a lot too. I've not figured it out yet. You know you need to do maths for that, right? Shh. 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 You know anatomy already, eh? Play Fortnite. Yep. I think I'd keep doing useless jobs. I'd love to be a drummer. Yeah. That'd be sick. I'd like to be in a deathcore band. I'd like to be the singer in a deathcore band. That's what I'd like. Yeah, the singer in a deathcore band, for sure. And go on tour. Yep. I'll be dead in a year. I'll be dead in a year, for sure. Slacker career path from the Sims. Yeah, exactly. Useful job. Yeah, I don't fucking know. I don't know, honestly. It's a difficult one. It seems pretty daunting to me to like maybe have to figure an entirely new career out. Well, okay. The only reason, obviously, I'd have to figure out a new career is if A, my job completely just doesn't exist anymore because of AI, or that I don't like working with it enough that you know, I have to reskill. And to be honest, depending on what happens, like I'd probably have to work with AI for a while at least, and to not be out of work, and then, you know, then maybe would think about it. If I really wanted to reskill, what would that be? Yeah, I just don't know to what extent it's going to affect what I do, and in what way. Right now, it's going to be there, but in what capacity, I don't know, and like, what's my involvement with it, and how do I find it super morally objectionable that I would put myself like out of work, out in principle, just out of principle, you know? I think if I'm honest, I would probably work with it for a while I don't think I would just put myself out of a job because of that objection. I don't even think I'm completely morally against the use of AI for certain things either. I think it is like a very useful tool. I think there is big merit in real artists' work, and I don't think that should be lost at all. But yeah, I think we just don't know, like, to what extent AI tools are going to be prevalent yet. It's early days. They are going to be used. Like, that's just, I don't really see a world in which it's here, so it stays. But yeah, as to what that means for my own job and so on, I just don't know, and to what extent it's being used, I don't know the answer to that. Big old big old question marks, isn't there? I think everyone's just in that same boat. Like, what Wagwan? What's happening? But yeah, it's here. It's here. It's coming. Sorry, let me catch up with chat. From really useful job, yeah. Are you using it? Yeah, give me one sec. Well, hearing this from professional with years of experience is quite daunting from the perspective of someone who hasn't even stepped into the industry yet. Yeah, well, yeah, this is what this is what I can't answer, is I don't know to what extent it is going to be adopted, and to what extent it is going to be part of the everyday day-to-day of the job, and how it's going to be used, and what that means for everyone in the industry. My rough guess would be that depending on the company that you're working for and with, this is going to be like a for instance. So I'm going to use the word, Blizzard, just because we all know who Blizzard are, right? But I'm just using that as the example. I'm not trying to say that this is what they're doing. I could imagine, say, a company like Blizzard that has, World of Warcraft as an IP, and there is a ton of their own visuals out there for the style. So let's say like Hearthstone. I think it's entirely possible that you could see Blizzard training an AI on the Hearthstone style, and then if you are going to then be working on that as, let's face it, probably an outsourcer, that you will essentially be painting over AI images, AI-based images, to correct things that they couldn't correct out from prompts and whatnot. I think that is, and that's really only going to work for at the moment, something like a Blizzard IP, where there is just enough visuals to train the model on it already. I think it would be harder for smaller companies and IPs to have sort of enough to train stuff on. So I do think that would become, a thing. So, yeah, I think that's something that would probably have to do in the beginning, unless I wanted to be completely out of a job, is to do something like that. Now, that's where it comes into like, do I want to be doing that for all the time? And if so, if I don't, then that would be a case of like, well, I'll have to, get paid to do this for now, and then in the meantime try and figure out what I'm going to do. Am I going to reskill into some other area, and so on and so forth. So I can see that being the case. Other than that, I just don't know how it's going to be used and so on. So yeah, it's a tough one. So yeah, hang on, I'm missing all the chat here. So do I use it? Yeah, I've used it. I played around with AI quite a bit, not to produce my own work, but just to see what it can produce, and in what way is that useful as a tool. And really, while I was like fairly impressed with like, oh, okay, it can do X, Y, Z, the only real use that I could see for it for myself, given the work that I do, would be to get like a more exact reference for something. I wouldn't use it to generate my compositions or anything like that, because I I'm very competent at doing that anyway, and I have full control over that. But if I was after a particular color palette, for example, and I just couldn't find reference for it, or I wanted some ideas for something like that, I think it's useful in that sense for that. But again, it's not super useful for that particular purpose. It just can be. So yeah, I think playing around with it out of interest and just being like, well, what can it do? I got to know. I need to understand what I'm up against here, kind of a thing. So yeah, I've messed around with it quite a bit. But yeah, like I said, not to produce anything that I put out there. It's just like, what does this tool do? How does this work? But you know, what can I get it to do? And so on, which I think it's just doing due diligence, right? If it's coming in, I need to know what I'm up against, how it works, and so on. I can't just like bury my head in the sand personally and just be like, I'm not even interacting with it, because I'm taking information away from myself for that. I feel like I need to know what it does. I'm collecting rejecting emails like Pokemon. Yeah, I can hear that. Lost my job recently and I'm about to start this path as well. I hope things pick up for you and all of us. Yeah, exactly. Been there, yeah. First job, got it only after one email on the 300th that I sent in 2 months. That allowed me an interview. Don't give up. Sorry to read that. There was some good company like Paramount or something that tried to train their AI. Their whole collection of works was still not enough to use as a database. So it will never be an ethical AI database. Yeah, for sure. The Crazed EB. Welcome to the stream. If it didn't start as a generative scrape AI, then I wouldn't be so adamantly against it. But I think I'd rather not work as a commercial artist if I'm forced to use it at a corporate level. Yeah, no, I understand that. Totally understand that. For me, it's not even the stolen things issue with AI scaring me the most, but all the things behind making it dangerous. A tool given to creeps who can create pedo content easy, disinformation on war and politics, removing tons of workers, won't be able to pay taxes, so everyone is... Yeah, exactly. Even though it's already quite impressive on what it can do, training it won't make good things. Yeah, I agree. For me, I ain't scared of AI, I'm scared of what capitalism will be like with the AI, because I need to pay rent. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. I mean, these are all good points, and I have not sort of... I don't think I have enough information to know how I'm going to react once it starts affecting the work that I'm doing, you know? Like I said, I think I will have to work with it in some capacity in the beginning if I want to have work. I can't just not work with it and be out of work and try and reskill into something else. So there is going to be at least some crossover time where I will be working with it, probably in the future, until, you know, I can find another way to you know, make a living. I don't think that I would put myself in you know, financial trouble initially, just for the sake of you know, you know what I'm saying. Yo, Gertz Anna, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, cheers for the follow. Let's change topic before we get real depressed. All right. All right. We did it. But yeah. I'll just say, I think that being, I think that having these conversations is good, and I think having these conversations without the moral grandstanding that goes along with a lot of AI conversations is a kind of a healthy way to do it, because we need to like talk about these implications without I guess just blowing up and it turning into a moral argument, because let's face it, we are people that will need to make a living, and so on, and so we might have to work with it, and that doesn't make you a bad person. You have to be able to pay your bills and live your life, and that might mean you have to do something morally objectionable, just so that you don't completely tank your life. And I wouldn't hold that against anyone who might have to use it in the beginning. That's all I'll say. But yeah, I'm glad everyone here is like mature enough to talk about it without that becoming the issue. Or maybe you're not, and you just haven't said anything. maybe you are immature though. Much happier with the folds. Well, I'll change the subject. Much happier with the folds right now. Are they like a 100p? What I want? No, but they are much closer to what I'm after. As a block-in, and I think they're at a point now where I maybe start painting over these with just normal layers as opposed to using this multiply layer. And that way I can actually pick values and start painting on top of them a bit more and develop the forms overall. But yeah, I think I have a sort of enough of a block in there that really helps, and is going to kind of solidify this. So we did it. But yeah, we can talk about this stuff, again. I'm sure it will come up again at another point. But I understand it is pretty fatiguing, like talking about it and thinking about it, and obviously it can be pretty depressing too. So yeah, we will move on from AI as of right now, but yeah, I think obviously the questions will come back. Yeah. Yo, Lumella, thanks for the follow, much appreciated. Got getting a few follows today. Happy about it. Yeah, welcome to the stream. Have a look around. See if there's anything you like. So I'm just kind of going in and dropping in a couple of like darker darks in here to really sort of start rounding out some of these forms. It's going to take a little bit of back and forth to do this, to figure out certain planes, but like I said, I'm quite happy with the initial blocking of the fabric now, so it's kind of the time where putting in some of these additional marks is going to sort of help. It's going to help me. Oh, look at Dan. Look at Dan doing his utmost. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah, that's true. If you miss any of the streams, you can watch the VODs back on YouTube and here on Twitch for, I think, 14 days they get kept. Yep. Yeah, and yeah, like on the weekend and stuff, I will also like clip out any of the more like relevant topics from some of the streams into shorter videos. So, you know, when we were talking about the Fresnel effect last time, for example, we'll clip that kind of stuff out, so it can be its own kind of separate video. So you don't need to scrub through like 4 hours of stream to sort of find that piece of information that you wanted to look for, etc. But yeah, I need to take the VODs and take them into Premiere and cut them up. Yeah, it's usually 2 weeks in it. Yeah, luckily, I don't know if the affiliation process has changed, but it was quite easy when I first started streaming to get to the Twitch affiliated kind of status. So yeah, I managed to get that done when we were streaming originally, like years ago. So that's been quite helpful. Unless they've changed it now and you don't need to be affiliated to save VODs, but at the time you had to. You've been working them folds for a long time, but damn, it's paid off. Big brush. Cheers, brah. Yeah, it's tough, man. Like this, the way that he paints folds is actually insane. It's taken quite a bit to sort of take in some of what's going on there. And like I said, I still don't think I have a great grasp on folds in his style, but it's definitely better than it was, and it is heading in the direction that I want it to head in. So I'll continue to sort of paint on them. They have taken quite a while, but I earmarked like this portion of the rendering would be would be one of the bigger challenges in this illustration. This and the the big sort of orb behind them are the two areas that really need to be painted correctly in my mind for the piece to be a success. Everything else is easy, relatively. Like the skulls, no problem. The clouds, the material floating around, all of that, easy mode. GG easy mode. But yeah, Leyendecker folds, tough mode. Big reflective liquid golden black ball, hard mode. So tackling these two areas first, although it's like a little bit time consuming and like maybe not super, maybe it is interesting for you, I don't know, but at least for me these two areas, if I can tackle the hardest bits first and kind of get them in a good state, not necessarily even finished, but just like they're in a good place, I'm happy with the way they are starting to look, etc., etc. Yeah, then the rest of it should be fun. And these bits are particularly difficult to paint on stream because I'm talking as well. And that's, you know, just makes it a little bit more difficult. But we'll get it. We will get it. But it's just got to be bold. Bold, big brushes. You know, reblock any shape that you don't like. Don't zoom in too much. Don't noodle. Yo, Mop Bear, thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. Cheers for dropping in. Hell yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think in terms of process-wise as well, just talk a little bit about process. Rendering the hard stuff first, I find sets me up very well kind of mentally for the rest of the image. What I used to do is like leave the bits that I was really worried about until the end, and that is a really horrible way to work. You leave the hardest bit and the bit that you don't want to do to the end, and then you end up in this like really horrible state where you just can't finish the image, and sometimes you end up needing to make some big changes because like that hardest bit isn't working and you've done everything else, and it can destroy the motivation to finish the image. So I always try and do the bit that I hate the most, or not that I hate the most, the bit that I'm going to struggle with the most at the start, and then when it's over, it's kind of like a sweet relief, because then you're like, yeah, damn, everything else is going to be much easier, more breezy, and so on, and you get a nice sense of like accomplishment and challenge overcome by doing that. You know, a lot of the time it usually comes down to, you know, one particular area. You know, obviously like faces can be that in the image for the most part. But yeah, for me it's always some kind of challenging area, whether it's like lots of folds in the drapery, something that requires like reflections to be pretty accurate for it to work, that kind of a thing. And yeah, it's a good. It's good to get the challenge out of the way early doors, I find. Try it out. Because yeah, I would do it a lot. Get in a real frustrating position where I'll be like, well, I can't finish the image because the hardest bit I left till last and it doesn't work. And I hate it, and so on. Yeah. I think this will be the hard thing for a while, but because it's like something I'm putting a lot of effort into, you know, to try and understand and like create similar shapes. At some point, because I put all that time into it, this will be one of those things that becomes much easier and not the challenge anymore. And then it will become something that I just love to paint, and it will be like the thing that I leave until after the hard bit's done, because it won't be the hard bit any longer. You know, hair was like that for me when you know, started painting. I couldn't for the life of me paint hair, and I used to loathe painting it. Then I did lots of studies of hair, and I remember there was an article in like Imagine Effects magazine, from a lady, I'm trying to remember her name. She used to do all sorts of tutorials in Imagine Effects, right? And there was one that she did on hair, and it really clicked with me, kind of parts of the process. I didn't exactly like the way that she like painted hair in her style, but the process of getting to the point that then she would detail it really clicked with me. So I did loads of studies, doing, you know, blocking out hair like that, and then yeah, now I absolutely love it. Like, it's something that I enjoy painting. I think I paint it very well. I was sort of experiment with different ways of doing it based on the same kind of blocking, and it's just one of those really enjoyable bits of painting for me. So This will become the same eventually, the folds. I tell you now. I remember the drama around her painting over photos back in the days where photo brushing was cheating, despite the fact that she was able to seamlessly integrate photo into imaginative work. Yeah, I mean, there's always something like that, isn't there? People are going to get upset about everything. Yeah. I remember all the drama of photo bashing. It was so useless. Such a silly time. And people like picking sides. And all the kind of moral grandstanding that goes with that. I was just like, oh man, shut up. But it's like it's just another skill, right? And I think at the time there was loads of great techniques and stuff that people were doing, and it was a good time to sort of learn it because it was like kind of new. And I'm glad that I learned it at the time because all those techniques, I still use and adopt into my process, and it just enables me to do more stuff. People forget that we do this as a job for what the clients want. Yeah, I mean, hell, what was I gonna do? I'm like working for Ubisoft, who wants photorealistic concept artwork because their game is photorealistic, and we've got a few weeks to paint it. Like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna be able to paint a photorealistic snow-covered New York street with like a million things going on in 2 weeks or less, without using 3D and photo assets? No. Does Ubisoft care how I got to the end result? No. So what am I going to do? I'm a junior. It's good times. I enjoyed it very much. Well, we know people who said that they wouldn't do photo bashing because they were artists and then they didn't get any work. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have no choice. I was a junior. I wanted to keep my job. I could morally grandstand and be like, I'm not an artist if I use photo assets, and then they'd be like, cool. Well, we don't care about that because this is a job and we're paying for a product, and this is the product we want. So but yeah, it's fun. I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed learning how to do it. Like I said, I still use those same techniques in my work now when I'm integrating 3D or photo reference into my work. I think I'm glad I learnt those techniques. Also, the other stuff that went along with it, like I would have never have really got into the sort of grading of images and all of those kind of tools had I not had to do photo bashing. and stuff like that. You know, learning how to like color match to photos and you know, integrate photos into paintings and match fidelity, detail fidelity, and so on. And like, yeah, all of that. It also really helped with perspective as well at a certain point, because a big part of it was finding photos that were like in near enough the correct perspective so that you could use them in your piece as well. So you actually end up getting like a pretty good eye for like what was in perspective, but or in perspective enough that you could like warp it and it still work, and so on. I don't know. It's just a very fun time. I'm gonna hit save. I haven't saved. Whew. Yeah, exactly. All of that. Yeah, exactly. The you both mentioned focal length and the right lens, but yeah, exactly. That was a big thing. I remember in the beginning just like going on Google Images, right, and searching for, you know, broken down cars and just grabbing like everything, and then going through and trying to put these cars in my image and just be like, every single reference I've picked here is like either the camera has got a wide lens on it and I'm super close to the car and it's really distorted, or it's completely in the wrong perspective for the shot, and so on. And it becomes a skill in and of itself to be like looking for references and being like, okay, this is right, we're in the right ballpark with this particular reference, this perspective, etc. It was quite fun. Did like it. That was great. Kind of big first project to work on though. The first AAA title that I worked on was The Division. As a young whippersnapper, with Mr. Dead Toothbrush here. And yeah, we got really thrown in at the deep end on that stuff. Like, it was a great project, but having not really got any sort of photo bashing skills at that point, you know, and we had really not long to put some of these shots together. It was real, you know, pedal to the metal, do or die, figure it out by tomorrow kind of thing. We had some fun times, like trying to figure it all out, and, you know, put these images together and come up with some kind of process, and then paint over stuff. Yeah, it was really fun. And then going into the game when it released, and going and like finding all of these areas that we'd worked on, and seeing that, because we were doing the concept art like really not long before release. I'm talking like less than, the game came out maybe 4 or 5 months after we worked on the images. Like, it came out real quick afterwards, and, you know, a lot of the concepts that we did were put into the game pretty much as they looked in the concept art, because they hadn't had the time to really do anything else. That's why the concepts had to be like so realistic to the style of the game, because yeah, I guess they were just having to implement them exactly as they were. So that was really fun. And it's like a first major project as a junior. It was great times, just having to learn new stuff on the fly, and like getting home from work, firing up Photoshop and stuff, and just like trying to practice the same techniques at home, just so that we could then complete the image the next day at work, because we were like, how do we do this? It's really good. Remember people being like, I take all my own photo refs. Okay, sure. Though I did have a folder of texture photos that I took. Never used a single one, but there must have been hundreds. We did weekends and work late. It was really good times. Yeah, it was good. Very, very good. Good fun. But yeah, working on stuff like that, because I haven't always been an illustrator. You know, started as a concept artist, and that's what I wanted to do concept art. You know, I didn't plan on being an illustrator, but it was doing stuff like that, you know, on a daily basis that I was like, man, do I actually want to be a concept artist? Because I feel like I just like painting and drawing, and actually there's not much of that in the concept artist role, it seems, you know. And that's, you know, over a few years sort of transitioned into being an illustrator rather than a concept artist. And now I don't do any concept artwork. It's all illustration. But yeah, it's very interesting. I had like a different idea of what being a concept artist was going to be to what it was. It was great. Like, it was fun. I learned lots of stuff. But yeah, it's a very different job than I had thought. And I think that was just my own naivety to it. But also, seeing work online, there's lots of work that you see online that's like concept art, but it is a very, very, very small part of the job. And that's why I thought that concept artists would be doing a lot of illustration and like finished, final, polished stuff, because that's all you see. But production art does not look like ArtStation for the most part. It's very rare that you're going to finish something like all the way to like presentation ready of stuff that is very rough around the edges, and like there is enough of it to serve a purpose for production, or for for 3D team to take over and use. But a lot of concept art is really not that pretty. It definitely doesn't look like the majority of stuff that you see on ArtStation. Like, production art is very, very rough and ready, very raw around the edges. And yeah, so I had the kind of the wrong impression of it from that. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, it's actually illustrations that I like want to do. Yeah, really finished render, close to picture almost. Yeah. Nah. Yeah, there's so much like production stuff that from back then that I have never like put on in my portfolio and stuff, because it just doesn't look like the majority of things that you would see on ArtStation. It's like, well, it's production. There's a lot of stuff on ArtStation that is not production art. And yeah, being a concept artist is being a production artist. You know, a lot of skeletons in those closets. just grab my... Let me grab my Huel, not sponsored. Yeah, I agree. I think it has its own... Production art has its own, like, charm to it. But yeah, it ain't pretty per se. Alright, give me a sec. BRB. Yeah. Yeah, 30-minute warm-up. We got banana today. Banana. Tastes like antibiotics. Nice. Boom, boom. All right, sorry. Just zoning out for a sec. I'm back. He says. Yeah, so I'm getting there with the material on this. Like I'm not totally unhappy with it. It's still it still needs work. But I'm much happier with the shapes and stuff overall. I feel like it's heading in the right direction now. So I'm just trying to block out a little bit more of this, some of the larger areas. I want to kind of think about this fold in the at the elbow a little bit more, and so on. And all of this. I might do a little bit of adjustment of some of this. But yeah, well, it's heading in the right direction. Definitely happier with it. So might need to adjust the values slightly, as in like, you know, knock this down a little bit in terms of like, you know, all the planes are facing that way, but yeah, value adjustments not so much of a problem. It's more of the overall design and shape of things. That's what needs to be kind of on point. Value adjustments, yeah, is more like, oh, we can just do that with an adjustment layer and paint over it a little bit. You know, shapes and blocking kind of stuff, that's got to be on point. And also, I have these arms, right? They're meant to be kind of a bit longer like this, a bit exaggerated in their length and thinness and shape, but they are just like the very rough initial kind of blocking for those. There's nothing really refined about them at all right now, so yeah, that's obviously something that I want to paint and get into. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll just continue on with the material and stuff for now. So yeah, on a stream soon, obviously I'll like give details out ahead of time so we can grab some stuff, but after the sort of morning, the beginning portion of the stream where I do some studies, happy to do some paint overs of people's work if they're looking for a critique. If they're happy for it to be on stream, then yeah, well, what I'll do is at the time. Yo, Eric, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Cheers. Yeah, so we can do some of that probably next week, where I'll do a paint over of some people's work that they've submitted. Try and help you guys out with something you're working on. You know, maybe there's a particular illustration that you're struggling with, or you just want me to take a look at it. Whatever it is, we can do that. Because it's quite fun. I think everyone benefits from that kind of thing as well, even if it's not your own image, but just more like, oh, that's a useful thing, or you know, problem solving, etc. So we'll do that. NDA, yeah, fair enough. Where? But yeah, we can do some of that. Like I said, I'll organize like where we can do that. We'll put it in the, I'll make a new channel in the Discord. Well, there is a channel for that in the Discord. We'll put stuff in there, and then I can just grab a couple every stream after the warm-up portion of the stream and go over them. And I'll just try and get to them as we go. So it should be fun. It's always good to see what people are working on, and how to solve them, how to solve some of the issues you might be having. Just looking for the spookier music. Avatar. That would be awesome. Yeah. No worries. It's a cool Stranger Thing chill vibe. Indeed. Yeah, it's just trying to be like non-offensive background, copyright-free music, but also not be like sort of annoying after a while. I can barely hear it. Like I have it really turned down in my headphones, but so it's not so bothersome for me. But also don't just like having the stream in silence. Bah. All right. Well, I'm going to do a bit of painting on this skull. I'm very quickly just going to go and use the bathroom. So I'll be right back. I'll just pop you guys on. Well, I can leave you on this screen. Yeah, I'll leave you guys on this screen. May as well. I'll leave it upside down as well. All right, be right back. Hey yo, I just seen the outside. Like outside the room. The weather is it's like dark. And the wind's picked up. I'm gonna get brutalized on my bike on the way home. Yep. Okay. Skull painting. Gold skull painting. Here we go. I just gotta grab my skull. One sec. Yeah, so I have this handy because I paint skulls quite a bit. It's a skull. Very cool. It's broken because it got stepped on, so the cranium's all crushed in. But yeah, this is very handy for painting skulls. Obviously, to have a real life reference. So I just have it on my desk. I actually did a little study of this the other day. Let me grab it. A digital still life, as it were, of this the other day, sat on my desk. Let me just grab it. But yeah, I draw this in quite a bit. It's very, very handy to have. I do like skulls overall. They're very cool. Man, where the hell did I put this study? Here we go. Can't remember where I put it. Copy image. Yeah, so I don't always work from photos for studies. I work from life too. This was just looking down at my desk here with the skull on it. Obviously, you can't color pick from real life. And I've got this really like horrible office light in here, like that you can turn on, the big light. Oh, I'm not even showing it to you. So yeah, this office light gives this very like flat, even like yellow tone to everything. So yeah, that was that. But yeah, this is a digital kind of still life. I spent trying to think. I think maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours on this. Is it very rough, obviously, like all of this is a USB bank with USBs plugged into it. There isn't really like any hard or straight edges to any of it, but like I said, you can't, and there's the corner of my tablet here on its stand. But yeah, you can't color pick from real life, so it's good to mix up and do these kind of real studies, so you can't cheat and pick from the photo. You have to really try to analyze what you look at and so on. So it's a fun exercise. And yeah, maybe we can do one of these on stream sometime as well. So yeah, anyway, there you go. So skull's on the desk now, so I do have kind of some ref for this, but like I said, I painted skulls so many times that yeah, it's in there, it's in the mind, it's in the bank, as it were. And this one's going to be sort of kind of reforming and like drippy and so on. And it's going to be kind of liquidy and not completely solid. So there is that aspect to it as well, which is going to play into this. Doesn't need to be completely fully formed. But yeah, as always with these things as well, it's just like going from general to specific. So I'm just using the kind of rough color palette that's here right now, and just blocking out like the major forms, like the shape of the eyes, the sort of the major planes in here, and then only then would you then sort of go in and start working out other stuff, and getting kind of more specific and smaller with it. Don't jump into the details. Don't zoom in. Yeah. I'd say like one of the worst things you can do in your illustration is to zoom in too early. So zoom out, all of you, right now. Zoom out. Crafty little rascal, thanks for the follow. And welcome to the stream. Thank you very much. I think since I've started restreaming this has got to be the record for new followers on stream. So thanks everyone, much appreciated. And welcome. Obviously, if anyone's got any questions, please ask, reach out. Happy to sort of go over stuff as it comes up. And as the same with the material here, alrighty, gotta go. Thanks for the discussion. See you around. Sorry, I totally blanked on that. Goodbye. Thanks. I'm sure you've gone now. Toodles. Thanks for coming. But yeah, as with the material, essentially, I want to try and sort of paint this in a very like direct and kind of bold manner, where visible strokes, the strokes one by one, like defining the planes, and so on. Just have that freshness to it. I want the whole piece to be like that, really. A bit less kind of detailed than I would usually do things, in a way. I have just been more and more like leaning into painting in a style that is a bit quicker to execute, and doesn't rely so heavily on like texture and I guess it's a lot of rendering. Just want to be able to have a style that I can execute a bit quicker. And obviously while I'm learning that, it's slower, but the goal is to be a little bit more succinct, let's say, overall. I zoomed in there. Sorry. Whew. Caught me. You caught me zooming in. We don't zoom in around here. No, we do. Just don't zoom in too early. Cosunita. I hope I said that right. Thank you for the follow. Cheers for following. Welcome to the stream. Nice. Yeah, I think it's definitely the most amount of follows we've had since restarting the stream, which is great. Most amount of viewers too. Really nice. Yeah, so at the moment I'm like painting this skull, you know, as it is. But once I'm happy with the block-in, and this is just on one layer right now, but once I'm happy with like the block-in of this, I will then do a sort of a layer above in which we start to distort it a little bit and paint in a little bit of, you know, this idea that it's kind of liquid that's being formed into this skull, so that it's not like a solid thing quite yet. Like parts of it will be solid, but other parts of it will still very much be like liquid gold that is forming into the shape of the skull. Because the idea here is that this kind of big orb at the back is like going to be sort of liquid. Everyone heard about bathroom cam and trying to get the numbers up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be like a sort of a liquid orb, a black liquid orb ball kind of thing, like this. All right, and then out the side of it is some of this liquid's coming out, and then it starts to sort of form into a skull, and then by the time it gets to the front, it's been turned into like gold that is formed into the skull, and then those gold skulls go back round and get absorbed back into the side of this ball. Why, you might ask? No idea. We just like the idea of it. So that's what's happening. But as with most things, always trying to paint like the simple thing first, and the simplest thing would be to paint the skull undistorted, not liquid, just a gold skull, and then kind of go in and paint that into the new sort of like liquid version of that skull. Because it could get quite messy quite quickly, honestly. Get a bit carried away with it, with the liquid. So it's good to have like a base that I can always go back to if it goes awry. You know what I mean? Just in the case of like I get a bit too carried away with it, that I sort of break it, you know? It just becomes a mess. Like I always have this block-in of the skull as is, that I can come back to you and be like, okay, don't do that again, Mr. Heath. because that happens, you get a bit carried away sometimes with the render, and like you might enjoy it when you're in there and you're painting it up and this, that, and the other, but sometimes you can ruin things, over noodle them, or the effect is there for like part of it, but you can't capture it elsewhere on the thing, and yeah, you lose it a little bit. So I'm trying to set myself up for success here. Yeah, and the interesting thing about gold, as well, is that it kind of doesn't really look gold if you have it in like an outdoor environment. It takes on a lot of the coloring around it that then gets a kind of sort of almost greeny kind of hue to it in the gold itself. I do find it kind of weird, like if you see a picture of something gold that's outside, it's like not very much of the surface is like quote unquote gold. Yet it appears gold, it's I don't know, it's hard to explain. Just reflects its environment, and it can get really quite dark as well. Then there's a lot of browns and so on, and yeah, there's this kind of almost weird kind of greenish feeling hue about gold a lot of the time as well, in kind of the mid values of the reflection. Yeah, which is very interesting kind of surface, but I love painting gold. One of my fave things to paint. He likes gold. Yeah, I like painting it, but I don't haven't committed to getting like a big gold rope round my neck. Big like Cuban link gold chain. But maybe it's the time. Get our gold rope. It's time for bling. Yeah, I usually wear the necklaces that Daisy's made me, and I meant to put mine on today and I forgot to bring it. And I was cycling here and I realised. And I was like, damn it. Get all my custom jewellery from Daisy. Bespoke one-offs, you know? That wife bling. Yeah, exactly. Custom, yeah. Call that custom bling, yeah. Okay, so we got sorry, got enough of a kind of block in here. I just want to turn this off a sec. Just get rid of the sort of lumps that are coming out of this shape. And just alter the shape at the bottom here. And then we can start getting drippy, bit drippy about it. Gold. Okay, cool. So we got kind of enough of a block in here. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see. I'm trying to keep these like visible strokes, you know? Stuff like this is not going to get like rendered out over time. I'm trying to kind of keep these edges here, you know, like these strokes that are visible in here. But what I do want to do obviously is introduce like a little bit of this like liquefaction of this a little bit. So, but I do that on top of this, and then what that's gonna mean is if I do mess anything up or I go a bit too far or don't like it, I've not destroyed this, and I can go back and just go back to this state with it. And when I say like I'm going to make it sort of drippy and forming out of liquid, it's going to be something similar to this sort of effect that I have painted on this picture, which I'm going to bring up. So yeah, basically here, the way you see where the surfaces are kind of merging. So like the eye is turning into sort of liquid, right? But it's kind of merging up through the hairline and into the skin of the face, and there's like basically this sort of liquefaction to all of the surfaces. It's kind of quite trippy, you know. And then obviously we've got some colored line work and painted aberration in there, but it all adds to sort of a certain effect. And I want to do something similar with parts of this in the skull. So I'll do that here. And the same with the way that I did this, like I painted her face normally, right? And then on top started to paint this stuff in. In that way, I could always go back to the face had I gone too far. It's easy to get too carried away. So yeah, we'll attempt this. I'll zoom in a bit more here, so there's a bit more of it on screen. You can kind of see how this is going to work. But the way I like to do this is to sort of take the surfaces through each other, and create these shapes that sort of bleed over. And this way you can get this really sort of this weird kind of dripping effect where it is liquid still, and it's being like formed into something. You need to make sure to like vary up the size and shape of this stuff as well. You don't want it being too uniform in its width and its distances, because you can very quickly make it look very uniform. Yeah, we'll zoom in and out, but it's pretty easy to do. Because I sort of set up the lights, I know where my light sources are for this. You can like somewhat make up the reflections pretty well, and it will work. But yeah, you just sort of take one value out and over some of the others. And then just sort of paint back and forward into those. Make sure that these shapes kind of flow. I try and think of it, I'm trying to sort of think of it going in a particular direction, like it's this sort of direction that these shapes are going to take, so that there is a kind of overarching design to this happening, so that it's not super random. Like with her, you can see the strokes are doing that. They sort of fan out like in this sort of direction through the face. There's like an energy to the way that the distortion's happening, so that even though it's really quite detailed, the detail is happening within a particular direction, and things like that become less noisy because there is a sort of a pattern that your eye is following to them. That way you can have something that's quite complicated, or has lots of detail and small surfaces, but it doesn't become like super noisy and take over the illustration, because it has an energy to it that forms a pattern. Our eyes love patterns, right? So you want to kind of lean into that If you need to make something more detailed and like add a lot of detail or movement to something, then if you do that with a kind of a flow and a direction in mind that everything is going to take, it won't seem like so chaotic and random that it's hard to look at, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Stuff can get way too busy for a particular part in an illustration, but you might want detail somewhere, or something that is kind of seemingly more detailed or even slightly chaotic, right? But if you just do pure chaos, you can make it super hard to read, and it becomes a bit too much for the eye to grasp, and takes a lot of visual attention away from other parts of the image. So if you do have to do something like this, yeah, try and do it in such a way that it follows a bit of a rhythm or a sort of a visual pattern, and it won't take up as much attention as like pure randomness, if you know what I mean. So yeah, as you can see here, this is kind of the effect that I'm sort of going for. It's still forming. The liquid is still forming into the skull. It's not quite fully formed. And then this one that's like moving back out and away, you know, that would have previously been here, it's come out here. This one's going to be like solidly formed skull. In gold. Yeah. And then we'll get a little bit of like color dodge in here later. Maybe even a slightly harder brush for some areas. I don't need like tons of drips, you know, but it's got to be enough to get the point across. You could, for example, take the base skull, right, and duplicate it, just so that you've got a spare one. But and then kind of take the liquefy tool and pull that through it. But and that would be an okay base to start from. But it would require quite a bit of painting over to not look like the liquefy tool. There's a certain like digitalness. Yo, Chem Orange, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, the liquefy tool looks very digital. And therefore, if you just like liquefy something in the middle of your illustration and everything else is like hand painted, hand painted. Hey, I love your art. Thank you. Much appreciated. Thanks for coming to say that. Yeah, it will just look really jarring. It's in the same way that a soft airbrush, like a soft airbrush gradient, like this gradient from this blue to this blue. It feels very like digital and like flat and artificial. And so like later on, these kind of gradients, I'll go in here with like a very slightly textured brush and basically kind of paint this gradient in with a little bit of texture and some brush strokes, because everything else will be painted, like this with brush strokes, but this then sticks out as feeling like very digital and very flat. And yeah, liquefy tool is like that. You can sort of see, when something's been liquefied just because of the way the liquefy tool works and what it sort of does, the way it sort of stretches and moves things, that it will look odd, like it will just look sort of like a digital artifact in there. So that's why something like this, you could start with the liquefy tool, but you'd have to paint into it, and that's why I prefer just actually not even using the liquefy tool, and just hand painting it straight away, and just get more of the kind of shapes that I want out of it. Hey yo, is that Mace Jalan? Thank you for the follow. Another one. It's crazy. Thanks for all the follows today, everyone. Much appreciated. Welcome to the stream. If you guys have any questions about like what we're doing, or for me in general, or about digital painting in general, I might be able to help out, and so on. But yeah, welcome to the stream. We stream 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, from 11 till 3 p.m. UK time. There is the schedule around. I don't know where it is on the page in relation to where I am. I think it's below in the schedule section. You'll see the schedule there. And in the about section, all of the relevant links to ArtStation and YouTube, where these VODs will be, and so on and so forth. So, but yeah, welcome. Thanks for the follow. Another thing that's kind of like very digital as well is like these very clean edges on stuff. So, you know, something I'll go and do is essentially going around and painting the edge back into these shapes just with a brush, and getting rid of that ultra clean edge. There are some things where you're going to want that, but yeah, for the most part, it again sort of smacks of like lasso tool or pen tool, and you can sort of see it, and it does become a little bit jarring to have something like so digital feeling. It's just like a sort of an artifact, almost. But yeah, I know that might sound weird because it's like, well, hang on, isn't this a digital painting? And it's like, yes, yeah, it is. And I'm not trying to mimic real media either, but it's just more of the overall, the painted parts of the image have a certain like texture and visible brush strokes to them. And these things that I'm talking about produce really hard edges, like, you know, pixel perfect hard edges, and against the paint texture it just looks very strange. Hey Pilot, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. The stream is popping off. Lots of new follows today. Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining. Yeah, out of interest, the new follows, did you just happen to browse the channel whilst looking at the art category, or did you come from Instagram or Discord? Like, where was... How did you find us? How do you know? All right. So yeah, I'm gonna hit this up. Actually, first of all, slightly harder brush. In some of these areas where, whoops, I want to like firm up the shape, give it a slightly harder edge. Because there's a little bit too much texture in some of these areas that betrays the material somewhat. So just going to give those a bit of a harder edge. Is this personal work? It looks amazing. It is personal work, and yeah, thank you very much for saying. That's very kind of you. Yeah, this is a piece of personal work that we've been working on for, what is this? It's the 4th stream kind of back streaming, but it's only the 3rd stream that we've worked on this image. We took it from black and white into color on the last stream, and then yeah, we've been kind of starting to do the render on this, starting with the material here. We've got a few notes on here about like the direction that we're heading in on here, just overall. But yeah, we are working through it right now. I follow a lot of art streamers who showed up in the live channels section at the side. Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. That's great. Oh, thanks for letting me know. That's very helpful. Yeah, I did wonder how that live section worked and how it recommends. So cool. That's good to know. Okay. So we got about sort of 45 50 minutes left for today. So I'll continue to work on some of this. Liquid skull. Asteroids. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Welcome to the stream. It's happening. It's happening. Okay, needs a bit of a darker shape in here. Darker kind of reflection edge. We'll kind of link that up into this shape. Serving somewhat as a sort of a termination edge, but it in some ways it's like a little bit of the reflection of the hand over it. You know, if you imagine this hand reflects in this, it's going to appear maybe sort of here-ish in my estimation. And then as some of these shapes like curve, it's also going to reappear. And yes, I am making that up. I don't know, 100% where this stuff is going to be. It's just a guesstimation. A lot of reflection stuff you can kind of guesstimate with, some degree of accuracy, as long as like the material and the values of it are arranged in the way that they should be on the certain material. You can't get away with not being like super accurate. It's just if you can get the expected behavior and look right, then you know it'll work functionally for the most part. Got to get the vibe right. Got to pass the vibe check. Yeah, and then what we'll do is we'll hit this up with like a tiny bit of color dodge, and this is going to really help the sort of metallic feel to this. You see here where we have, you know, the highlight, and then we have this like really nice hot yellow at its edge, and then later here we have this kind of warmer tone. Well, these tones originally came into the piece from a color dodge layer that we used, and it just like enriches the palette a little bit of these areas, and starts to give them this kind of sort of slightly burnt colors and metallic feeling kind of properties to the color. So we'll hit this with the color dodge again, and it's gonna again help give us that slight metallicness to everything, bit of bloom. So we make a color dodge layer, and what do? Every time we make a color dodge layer, we double click on the layer to open up the layer styles panel, and we uncheck transparency shapes layer, and this is going to give us that nice kind of burn to the color dodge. As you can see here, if I like do this and I turn this off, that's what the layer looks like with that checked, and this is what it looks like with it unchecked. This is why we do that, because we want this nice burn effect to the coloring there. It's like, as you can see, giving it a really nice enrichment to the palette, but it does that really nice burn, which helps give it that metallic quality, and that's what we want in here. If you're using color dodge without it, it just doesn't hit the same, doesn't look the same. And I will mention it every time I use color dodge, because not everyone knows that about that layer style. I have no idea why it's not like the default behavior for it. Maybe in photography you don't want that to be the case, I'm guessing, Photoshop. But as a painter, digital painter, you want that. Trust. I'm working on a piece with the golden armor right now. I'm definitely stealing this. Yeah, for real. I feel like it's impossible to paint like metallics without that property. It's very difficult to get that same feel about the material. Hey yo, Leo Val is raiding with a party of 4. Thank you very much. I'm not quite sure why the alert didn't come up for that, because I do have an alert for that. So I have to figure that out. But anyway, thank you for the raid and for bringing your viewers over. And hey, thanks for the follow also. Yeah, welcome to the stream. I hope your stream was good. Were you working on some artwork as well? If so, I hope it's going well. And yeah, thanks for bringing your viewers over. My name is Alex Heath. I am an illustrator working in the games industry. I have been working in games for like 11 or 12 years now. And yeah, I just got back into doing some live streaming. So we are here 3 days a week, live streaming illustrations as I work on personal work. And yeah, we just talk about art stuff. And yeah, we go over techniques and do little tutorials and stuff. And yeah, just generally discuss stuff to do with illustration. So if that's your thing, if you want to learn a few things, if you want to ask questions of about the job and industry as well, yeah, welcome. Yep, kind of Frazetta style pinup. Oh, cool. Very nice. Very, very nice. I'll have to tune into your stream sometime and have a little look-see. But yeah, thank you. Much appreciated that you bringing your viewers over. Awesome. Yeah, so like I said, we stream here 3 days a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 till 3 UK time. Catch us here. All right. So I'm going to take a look at the hands a little bit now. I've kind of done enough on this skull for now. And yeah, fancy giving the sort of these hands a little go. So the idea with the hands here is that they're also going to be kind of like almost like an oily kind of material. So like they're formed of liquids, so they're going to be kind of quite shiny and specular. And yeah, the limbs of this guy are very sort of elongated and a bit uncanny. He's meant to look otherworldly in a way. You know, has a kind of godliness to the whole thing. Yeah, there's all sorts of materials that are going to happen here. It's just going to... There isn't really a point to this dude. We don't have a backstory for him or anything. It's just a collection of like interesting materials that I wanted to paint in a kind of splash art esque way. So there you go. That's the context for this dude. But yeah, there isn't a story. There's no narrative here. So I mean, we can make one up eventually for this dude. But yeah, he's just got really long fingernails and really elongated hands and stuff. And yeah, he's just kind of like an oily dude. If in doubt, any material in this painting that I'm like, oh, what should that be? It's probably going to be some kind of liquid. Yeah, it's painting for painting's sake, let's say. And yeah, sort of hoping to paint this a little bit more in like a simpler manner, I guess. So, for example, let's quickly grab my ArtStation for a second. You know, increasingly more and more I'm trying to sort of simplify my rendering style so that it is quicker and doesn't involve as much sort of texture work and minute detail. So like I was talking about this last time, that this has a lot of tiny details and textures and thread and all sorts of stuff, which is fine, but it just takes so long to paint. And so then this, I did this in a similar way. It has a lot of textures in the materials, but at the end of this I kind of went over it and painted over it a bit more to sort of bring back some of the brush strokes and like simplify certain areas. So like the head and the hair and the brushes, had that done, and I was like, do you know, I want to try and do this more from the beginning and have less kind of texture in there and just have everything a bit more painterly. So with this next piece, that's what we did. You know, a lot of this is much more painterly and simplified, and relies much more on visible brush strokes and so on, for the effect. And so this next piece, this one that we work on here, intends to be the next sort of evolution, if you like, of that, where I'm going to try and, as much as possible, keep things quite painterly and simplified in a way, and just try and develop a little bit more of a rendering style that is quicker to execute and sort of much simpler overall. Gloopy Alchemist. Yeah, there we go. I like that. He's a Gloopy Alchemist. And yeah, of course, in that I've chosen sort of some materials that I just like to paint. So I like to paint gold. I like to paint drapery. Got big clouds in the background. I do like the challenge of trying to paint something, you know, like liquids and highly reflective surfaces, but trying to sort of do that in a simpler manner. So there's a lot of that in here. Voxtorp, thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. Incredible work, thank you. I've been trying to do the same, trying to simplify, do more with less, kind of. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. The sort of less is more approach to it, which in its own way, it's not necessarily like it takes less time initially, because, you know, it takes time to sort of figure it out and learn it, but the impression will be that it is much fresher looking and like simplified, and I guess the impression would be that it is done quicker, and over time it will get quicker, obviously, but yeah, it's and maybe it is already quicker, I don't know. Yeah, it is difficult to simplify and just not overdo it, but you know, we have certain things that we do to make sure that we are adhering to what we want to do. One of those is really not zooming in so much, trying to, you know, as John Singer Sargent paints, like, try and get away with the biggest possible brush size that you can at any given point, and resist the urge to zoom in and noodle things, and instead try and stay zoomed out and look at the image as a whole, and paint that impression of what things should look like, and yeah, just really not going into details. We're trying to leave all our brush strokes, you know, visible. You know, you see with the materials and stuff, we do have a lot of separate references here for certain things that we're adhering to. Like the material wants to look like kind of line decker, and so on. So yeah. Either way, all being said, it's just nice to be on here and be painting with everyone. There's a lot of stuff we're trying to do. Just get rid of this. But yeah, if you're interested in how we got to this point, like the previous VODs of the last few streams will show you, because we started off with the sketch for this, and we took that into black and white, and then we took that black and white thumbnail into color in the last session, and then this session's been a bit more about starting to render materials, basically starting with the big challenges first, the things I was going to find difficult. So the drapery, this orb in the background is going to be difficult. And we'll get to that, not on this stream, but definitely on next stream. We'll get to that. And yeah. Hey, Lumella, thank you for the sub. I much appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm painting on the wrong layer right now. There we go. Sorry. Disaster. Painting on the wrong layer. How embarrassing. Okay. So yeah, with this hand, right, it's quite gloopy, quite goopy. So, but it's reflecting stuff around it, so I have to be I need to make sure that it is reflecting at least partially some of the environment for the effect to work. You know, what's going to make it look shiny is that it's reflecting part of the environment. So I have to think about what direction the different planes what direction the different planes are facing, and then what is in that direction so that it can reflect it slightly. And now I don't need to go into like a super detail with this to make it work, but it does need to have some kind of what's the word? Logic behind it. So, for example, if I just imagine sort of some planes on this arm, you know, I turn this part of the arm into a box, and this part is like this, etc., etc. Like, what way does that plane face, as opposed to like the way that this plane faces, and so on. And then what is in that direction for it to reflect? So as this surface is turning away from me, like in this direction, turning away from my view, it's going to be reflecting basically the sky, right? This sky exists in a huge dome over the character. So going out sort of forward and upwards in this direction, we're just going to imagine there's sky. So that's why they start to get this like slight blue reflection here. And then where I'm looking at it directly is going to be the local color. So in this case, it's like a very dark black liquid, right? So the bit that I'm looking at is going to be dark. And then as that peels away from me in any direction, it's going to appear to get a bit more reflective and take on the colors of what's around it in the environment. So just kind of roughly having that stuff in mind, that will go a long way to making your surfaces look like the reflective material you're trying to emulate. Because that's how it works in real life. Will you add other colors like the holographic effect? The holographic effect that oil has? You mean, yeah, sort of like the multispectral kind of coloring that's in it? Yeah, that definitely can be something that I would put in a bit later on. I think for this beginning part though, going from sort of like general to specific. So adding all of those colors into the palette right now would make it very difficult to manage and paint. So what I would tend to do when I start something like this is to do the sort of simpler version first, where I just include like the sky reflection and make sure that I can, I get the material feeling good and I enjoy the shapes and so on. And then later, once all of that is working, I can start to sort of add layers on top of this flat shape, where I can add those kind of extra little finishes and colors to the palette, and sort of increase the detail a little bit that way. But yeah, I always tend to try and do things the simple version of it first, because as you imagine, if I try and put that like entire what do you call it, that entire palette of colors in at the start, it's just I'm just gonna get real muddy real quick with the painting, and it's going to take me much longer to find the effect, Hey yo, thanks for the follow. Costume, thank you. Sorry, in my little like stream UI, that the following alert thing comes up so small that I have trouble reading it. I need to make it bigger. So apologies if I get your name wrong. I actually just can't see it properly. Noob alert. That's me. Yeah, this is kind of a view of the hand where we're sort of looking at it foreshortened across the back of the hand. So having to kind of figure out where the planes are, but also because they're sort of foreshortened across each other, you're not going to see every part of, every finger, and trying to get the impression of all of that to work and still have them be readable. It's going to be a bit of a task. But basically getting comfortable with like foreshortening of planes. Getting comfortable with like foreshortening of planes and sort of understanding that stuff, I think can really take your artwork visually to a new level. If you can you can sort of do everything where the view that you have on every part of the image is kind of like the, I guess, sort of easiest view of it to paint. So, you know, seeing a hand from a certain angle and a face from a certain angle and stuff like that. But it is going to overall kind of really stiffen up your work, you know, to see everything from its kind of most visible angle all the time. It's just kind of going to mean that you're going to lose a lot of dynamism, possible dynamism, and just, I guess, I don't know, in some way even like a sort of elegance to it. And if you realize like basically everything is foreshortened to some degree in one way or another, if you can really sort of understand it and embrace the foreshortening of things and like try and paint things in the difficult angle, and so on, it's really going to help you as an illustrator, because you're not staying away from anything. You're not trying to avoid any particular view on something, like on a surface. It can be a lot more kind of inventive and versatile with the way that you view things. Like, I always now kind of lean into turning something so that it's not flat to camera, or you know, in a kind of very kind of easy viewpoint, if I can help it. Like, you know, this hand is foreshortened across the back. You know, this one has a couple of fingers that are actually coming directly towards us in a way, so they're really foreshortened into the shape. You know, you can see here if I turn on this line work. One sec. This is like the rough line work that we used for the picture. But you can see, like, this hand is foreshortened into us. Like, this skull will be foreshortened away from us, and so on. Like, there's all these, like, the figure is twisted, so it's foreshortened across the front, and so on. And it makes, you know, what essentially is a standing pose with the guy with his hands out feel very dynamic, even though it's not like a crazy movement that he's doing or anything like that. It just, all the forms are arranged in space in a way that feels like dynamic in and of themselves. And it just kind of elevates the impression a little bit more. And it's definitely something that I was looking at work of other people that I really admired, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it, you know, as I was studying and for the longest time. But I came to realize after a while that it was like embracing this idea of foreshortening in kind of every way, and learning and getting comfortable with doing things in such extreme foreshortening, and just always turning something away from camera and so on, that I think I found really elevated my work after a while. It was it's a tough one to do though, because you got to understand the shapes quite well to be able to do it in the first place, and then after that you got to be really comfortable with you know, how odd some stuff can appear foreshortened. Like, it's definitely, especially when you're drawing the line work for something, that can be a particularly, you know, weird to draw something in line that's very foreshortened. Like an arm coming towards you, for example, is very strange looking as a line drawing. Quite hard to sort of get into and do regularly, but I think you'll see the obvious benefits of getting good at something like that. in your illustration. It will help. Yeah, I mean, like if you just look at any sort of comic book penciler, you'll see what I mean. Like they don't shy away from any angle, and yeah, it pays off. Like a lot, you know, those drawings, those panels are really incredible, really dynamic and well put together. You gotta be an absolute beast to draw comics. An altered beast. Alrighty. Getting there. We're getting there. We have about 10 minutes left for today. Again, it always goes so quick on stream. 4 hours just flies by. Yo, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Welcome to the stream. You caught us right at the end. We've got about 10 minutes left today. But I'll be back streaming tomorrow, same time. 11 till 4 UK, 11 till 3 UK. And yeah, we'll be continuing on with this. We always start the stream with studies, by the way. Those of you who are new today, we start off by doing some studies for the first hour or so. So today we take this is the reference, the photo reference. Here we go. The photo reference, and this is kind of the style reference. So we're trying to essentially study this photo in this style for an hour or so at the beginning. So yeah, we did this one today, and yeah, we've done all sorts of other ones, and then we jump into this, which is our kind of like main image, main project. Afterwards, I usually try and have the study in some way be something that I'm going to directly like reference in the actual main project. So today, obviously, we did the pillow, and we started off working on the material here. And yeah, the idea of this is to try and improve, and try and understand like a style. So in that pillow study, trying to understand a little bit more about how Leyendecker paints material and stylizes material and folds, and then we're trying to emulate that in here because I want this to have that same like clean and bold aesthetic when it comes to the material. So look like old detective novels. Yeah, it's Leyendecker. One of the sort of golden age illustrators. Really, really nice work. The way he paints pretty much everything is gorgeous. This is done in oils as well. So, just really great. If you've never seen his work, go check it out. Dude's insane. But yeah, it's really nice. Kind of bold. So yeah, we try and... It's something that I would like to paint a little bit more like that. The simplification and the boldness of stuff. So yeah, that's why it's on the study list right now. But yeah, very good. If you've never seen his work, go look it up. You'll be amazed. Yeah, it's spelt like this. Hang on. Stuck it in the chat there. Leyendecker. But yeah, Norman Rockwell as well. That kind of sort of similar style in a way. I think they're both like of the same era as well. And yeah, to some extent, like Andrew Loomis also has a comparable kind of style in a way. But yeah, I think Leyendecker is definitely got a unique kind of look about it, which I really, really like. Okay, yeah, we got my notes here. So this kind of notes folder is just like where I sort of scribbled over the top of the image to try out some things, so that later on I'm know where I'm heading with certain things. So here, all this like nice subsurface scattering is something I still need to like paint into the image. And so on. There's jewelry and other things, like a little bit more reflection in the hands, etc. They're just notes for me to be like, this is what the image could look like kind of later on. That's there. So that being said, this pretty much takes us to the end of the stream today. Yeah, I want to thanks for all the new followers. Honestly, I think this is the most followers we've had on stream by far, since coming back to streaming. So thank you very much. Also thank you, Leo, for the raid. That's really kind of you, much appreciated. We're back 11 a.m. UK time tomorrow to paint on this again. And yeah, if you haven't done already, you want to see the past streams, there's a couple that are saved here on Twitch already, but if you go in the about section on Twitch, there's also a link to the YouTube where they are posted on there, and they'll be there forever, whereas they get deleted on Twitch eventually. And yeah, I think that's that's everything. So yeah, thanks again. I'll catch all of you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Toodles. Bye bye.